If you don't think Francis Ngannou is going to come back to the UFC, I need you to watch this right now.
Bro, I'm a fan of the sport. That's all. Like I'm a fan of Tom. I want to see Tom get his shot. He's earned it. He's deserved it. But I think the heavyweight division's in a tough place right now. It really is. And that's just me and Dan Tom talking about.
Imagine that. He says that the heavyweight division is in a tough place right now. Let's keep going.
About what can revitalize this division that needs some help. Then there's some options out there. I don't know Francis's contract deal with the PFL. I don't know.
That's not a bad option. But all right, let's keep going. You're going to see what I'm talking about here and more content to come.
That stuff. That's just me and you just chopping it up, bro. And I'm telling you how I, perceive it and how I see it. And if that option's always available, Francis is a businessman. That's all I know.
Realistically, I'm going to tell you the truth. I think it should be Francis and Jon Jones right now because Francis is the linear UFC heavyweight champion, and Jon Jones obviously came to reclaim that. Tom is only the interim. So really, it should be eliminator between Jon and Francis for the undisputed title, and then you can go on and fight Tom right afterwards, right? Because he is deserving of that. But if you guys remember, that was the fight to make, but Francis was not able to fulfill that due to the fact that he went on with the PFL and then had some boxing matches that unarguably, I would say, probably ruined his legacy. But that's another story for another video, another live stream, and another content. For now, take a look at this interaction between Jon Jones and Francis Ngannou back then to sort of understand in context where we are at today.
Respect. That's like you happen. We're over here. Over there. You know what? No, you know what? You know what? The 1-3 king. Listen, I need to respect that, and that one that's cool. You know that. I've always been here. Today I started this. And I'm gonna die. Anyway, we'll see. We could have saw it, but you know. Oh no, you sit back with me. I have to get to.
Well, all right. If you didn't hear the rest of that particular exchange, obviously there was more to it. Jon proclaimed, you know what? I need to gain a little bit of weight so that I can kick your butt. Okay. In other words, he wanted to really put on some power, which he did, which you saw in the Cyril Gane fight. He was able to take him down at will, submit him with ease. And then on top of that, Tom Aspinall, obviously, like I said, he is the guy that was just a replacement if you really think about it. There was a point in time where we wanted Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. What happened? Well, there was a time in the boxing's heavyweight scene where there were certain matches we wanted to see. For example, obviously AJ versus Fury. We still want to see that even with after the losses that they had. But out of nowhere, guess who stepped up? It was Deontay Wilder. And then all of a sudden, Deontay Wilder fights Anthony Joshua because Anthony Joshua, for whatever reason, could not fight Deontay Wilder. And then there was the possibility, once again, of Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua, which was great at the time because they were both undefeated. Then another undefeated guy stepped in, which was Tyson Fury. What did we get out of that? A 3-fight series between them, obviously with Tyson Fury getting the better of those exchanges, only leading him to go and fight Alexander Usyk, who is now the undisputed champion of the world. So that is what you call a healthy heavyweight division in the boxing scene and something that we totally need in the MMA. Now, I think it's safe to say that ever since Francis Ngannou left the heavyweight division, it really made the heavyweight division look weak. I'm going to be honest with you because obviously Jon Jones stepped in there. What did he do? He beat Cyril Gane with ease. What did Tom Aspinall do? He's out here beating everybody with ease. Okay. And then on top of that, it was Sergey Pavlovich that he starched in the first round. On top of that, he starched Curtis Blades, which also kind of starched him, but that's neither here or there. Obviously, a freak accident in the view of many people, including himself, but that's neither here or there. Still, right now, you got Jon, you got Tom Aspinall as the two dominant forces of the heavyweight division, at least even with John's one fight against a legend, along with his light heavyweight resume. But nonetheless, it is a heavyweight division right now that is weak, just based on the fact that, well, you know what? The top two guys are beating everybody. And then the one guy who is the linear champion, he is literally in another organization right now. Or is he? But that is what we are trying to figure out here, is whether Francis Ngannou is going to come back into the UFC, sign, and if he does, who does he fight and how does it really match up with John or Tom Aspinall? Who is going to get the first dibs, or are they going to have John versus Tom Aspinall first? Now, look, as I further get into the video section, or the, yes, video section of this content that we're doing right now, I'm going to elaborate on what it is that John and Tom Aspinall are planning with the UFC, because that's also important to understand. So now I told you about the state of the heavyweight division, also the heavyweight division of boxing. On top of that, what's going on, or what's possibly going on with Francis Ngannou. But now let's talk about what it is that they're going to plan with John Jones and Tom Aspinall and the president of the UFC, Dana White. Also his friendship with the real president, well, the president of the United States, where Dana is the president of the UFC. We're going to get to that literally right now. Go. Let's get right to it. Now, the biggest question in the heavyweight division is actually not Francis Ngannou versus Tom Aspinall, or Francis Ngannou versus John Jones. The big question right now is Tom Aspinall versus John Jones, and when. Now, I have a theory on this particular matter at hand, and it goes something like this. They're trying to get their Netflix deal somewhere in 2026, and there's a good possibility that they could do it either at UFC 224 or maybe even UFC 222, which is going to be in November. UFC 224 is obviously going to be a January card. So there is plausible reason to believe that that is what they are gunning for, because let's face it, if you want to go in there with your first TV deal after your ESPN deal, you want to go in there with a bang. And what is it that you can potentially offer Netflix? That is John Jones and Tom Aspinall. The other particular subject matter at hand of this video sort of talks about Dana White, because obviously he is the focal point of his whole entire story. He is the one making the match. He is the one that's, sort of dodging the questions with the media and the public, right? They want to know, when is this fight going on? And then he gives different answers that the media is giving him. On top of that, maybe he's playing possum because he doesn't want you guys to know what he has going on or what he has planned for the next coming months. So therefore, he's going to be very cryptic about the language and the way that he expresses his answers to the questions. So he has to be secretive about this particular matter at hand. But I tell you what, it doesn't hurt the fact that Dana White, while going into professional boxing now as a promoter and now head of the TKO company, in the boxing portion of TKO, UFC, WWE, and all of that, he's going to have a friend in the White House. And I'm going to tell you why this is very helpful. You know about the Ali Act, right? Obviously, it helps protect boxers. So now that Dana White is going into boxing and he has the ear of the president, don't you think that he's going to try and maneuver his way into situations that would be favorable for him, the UFC, TKO, Saudi boxing, and everything else that is involved with that conglomerate? Of course he will. He will use that to his advantage. Think about how powerful Dana White is right now. He has the two most powerful entities in the world helping him. He has the Saudis with Turkey Al-Sheikh, which is also attached to Mohammed bin Salman, his family, who is the head royal family of the kingdom. And then you got Donald Trump, who, if he needs any specific uh, detailed matters to the business that he has in combat sports, whether that would be, oh, I don't know, the Ali Act, protecting fighters, or this and that, he can create and maneuver once again his way into these situations that is favorable to TKO, WWE, UFC, and everybody that is involved. So that's what he has going on. And then on top of that, take into account Dana White right now has the ear of the president while the president is worrying about other matters at hand right now, like, I don't know, maybe the conflict with Iran and Israel. And by the way, if you made it this far into this video, I'm going to talk to you about that briefly, because obviously it's not a specific title that I want to put out as a singular video, but rather something that I add into a video as a little bit of a bonus for people that have made it this far to listen to this particular content. Where here it goes, okay? The Israeli conflict, I think, is highly underestimated by a lot of right-wing Zionists out there, right? Especially Americans that are for this war and that are for American troops being on the ground with the assistance to Israel and going against Iran, right? People don't understand the nuclear power that Iran has. On top of that, the military power that they have in comparison to Israel. Look, what a lot of people don't understand, and I just want to be very brief on this, okay? And then move on to another topic. What people don't know about the Israelis is that what makes them strong is their intelligence service. In other words, they had to have a strong intelligence service in order to mitigate any danger of, let's say, other Arab forces that are around the surrounding countries, maybe terrorist cells, different types of groups out there, Hamas, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, everybody that's in that region that is basically surrounding Israel, right? They need a good intelligence service force in order to mitigate a lot of danger that comes their way, and they're very good at it. But make no mistake, they don't have a strong navy. They don't have a strong infantry force, at least not in the way that you think. And their special forces are highly reliant on intelligence services. But that's the reality of this war. Now, how it's looking right now, I mean, they are going at Israel left and right now, and Israel is turning into rubbles. But you know what? Iran is also going through that as well. But the way that I'm going to end this is leave it with a real message, not a positive or a message of assurance or anything like that, just a healthy dose of reality. And it goes something like this. Whenever two people create a conflict, and whenever conflict erodes into chaos, destruction, and everything in between, in reality of it, there really are no winners. So don't forget to like and subscribe. MMA needs, if you want to find predictions, news, and everything that deals with MMA, shout outs to Kyrie, El-Kheer MMA, Sacramento, California, represent.
That's right, Kyrie. I appreciate you, my nigga. You came in here, you was talking that shit. That's right, bro. Much love, Flo. I appreciate you for always stepping in, bro. Be safe out there. Man, my nigga Kyrie, my man Kyrie came through. He started talking that shit. Hey, here's the thing. Here's the thing. That nigga will whoop your fucking ass. You would think that nigga's all squared up and all that type of shit. Nigga come through and beat your fucking ass. Like, man, fuck you up. You will never see it coming. So for those of y'all